We're going to try to can chili today. Haven't canned in several years, but for a Christmas gift, I got myself a canner. And for my son, I want to do chili. He loves chili. I've got my tomatoes. I'm trying the canned beans. I don't know how well that's going to work, but this will be an experiment. Lazy chopped onions. And this is a 3-pound thing of ground beef. I'm only going to use 2 pounds. So, got my chili powder and red pepper flakes, and I have definitely done a load of the jars along with the utensils. So I've got that all ready to go. They're staying hot, and these rinsed and washed up. Now here is where I'm going to do the canning. I just plugged this in, and it is my new Nesco Electric Canner. I've not used an electric canner before, and I'm choosing to do it instead of in there on my, I want the steam to vent out here. Cabinets and everything are old, but there's no sense in warping them with the steam. So there is the inner container. Yep. It has a hinged lid. It's jiggler built in right there. I use the black one for myself because of our elevation here. And then I did have some new jars. I did the pints and the half pints, because I'm also going to can chicken once I get the chili done. Here is the rest of my equipment, and all the paperwork and everything. We'll mess with that later, but it's going to be good. Now I can do 5 of the pints, and I'm doing pints for my son because that should do enough for him. Basically, he doesn't eat chili for the chili. He eats chili as a condiment on hot dogs. That's how he prefers it. That's what he wants. So that's what I'm making for him. So we're just about ready. Now it's time to put the chili together. And what I have is a 3-pound roll of hamburger. And I'm going to cut off 1 pound. And I'll just reserve that because this particular chili that I'm going to make only needs 2 pounds. So this will go in the freezer for another meal. Now this Meyer hamburger that I get is really good hamburger. Doesn't have much grease in it at all. So there'll be a little bit to drain after it cooks. But it's a really good burger. And I have one of those special little, I don't know what they're called, meat stompers, that you can separate it out. Just takes a few minutes to get the heat rolling and get it all ready and browned. Not really browned, since I'm going to can it. I don't want it overcooked. But I have my setup over there to drain the grease when we're done with it. So meanwhile, just every couple minutes, I give it a good stir and a good stomp or two. And that gets it ready for the chili. Now my lazy chili, all the ingredients are made before or fixed beforehand. I don't chop onions. I don't chop tomatoes. This is the 10-minute chili to get it on the stove and ready. Let it simmer for 20 minutes and lunch is ready. But I just pour that into the colander and let it drain just a little. There are a couple little scrapings on the bottom that I wanted to help flavor the meat. But there we go. There was hardly any drain into that pot. But we'll put that over there. And now let's just put in the ingredients. I have the already chopped frozen onions. And I put in diced tomatoes, and then another smaller can of the diced tomatoes. And then I do 2 cans of the dark red kidney beans. I like the dark red for no other reason. They're just big beans, And I like the chili to look dark. Don't know why, I just do. Now I have some chili seasoning. I put a 1/4 cup of that. TJ likes his very spicy. And then I have the crushed red pepper flakes. I just sprinkled some in, and I hope I can stand to eat the leftovers for lunch because that stuff burns a hole in my tongue. But anyway, he loves it hot and spicy. Now this I'm going to allow to just simmer a little bit to distribute the spices so I can taste the broth and see if it's the right amount of spices. I think based on how it looks, I'm going to go ahead and add the additional tomato sauce. So now, let's just let this mix up. And now I guess some people like watery chili. I'm making this for my son. He likes thick chili. He doesn't want it to be a soup, but he almost wants it to be a casserole dish. But since he mostly doesn't even eat it as a soup, he eats it as a topping for his hot dogs. There you go. So now I only want this to simmer just a little bit and it'll be ready for the canner. Nice and simmering. It tastes like chili. It tastes like the spices are right. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the jars. Now we had our jars in the dishwasher, still nice and hot. So I'm going to lay those out and we'll get those filled up. I need 5 of the jars to put in the cooker, and I think that's going to leave us a couple bowls for lunch based on the amount that I've cooked. So here we go. I did get a funnel and everything. Of course, got rid of my old funnel from when I used to can. As you can see, I'm pretty messy, but I do think it was a malfunction in that ladle. So I can't be to blame. I'm not messy. But anyway, we're going to fill these up. That goes really quickly. As you can see, I speeded it up. There's no sense in taking a long time to show you the filling of the jars. Now we got to leave 1-inch headspace, and basically that's just under the rim right there, up to that part where the jar lid screws on. And I use my little green thing to measure that, see if I have enough. I spooned a little bit between the few of them just to make sure that I had the right amount here and there. And now you do need to clean the rims after making a mess of the rims. You got to get that food off the rims. And at this point in time, I don't really realize that I forgot the bubbler. Makes nothing to interfere with the seal. These are a little bit hot to hold. I don't know if that means I need to start wearing a glove when I do this or what. But I think by the next time I do this, I'm going to plan it out and plan a little bit more room. Okay. And there's my 5 jars, and I need a lid for each one. And all of mine are the wide mouthed. There we go. Oh, I didn't do the debubble. Let me poke. This is so fluid, there probably is not a reason to debubble. But just in case, we'll debubble these to make sure there's no air pockets. that look good? Hope TJ likes this. There. Now, there's my jars. And we just tighten the lid. And the lids are not tightened to the extreme. They're just tightened. I am a messy cook. This is embarrassing. But there we go. There's my... Oops. Now here's the canner already. We've got the inner bowl in. And here are my racks. This is the one that I won't use. It's for higher elevations. Set up exactly the same, just a green one. And there's the canning rack that goes on the bottom. It has little legs that kind of holds the jars above the bottom. And then the separator that I'll use next to cooking. Now we're ready to get the jars in here. This is the canning rack that goes in the bottom. This is the steamer rack that you would put between two levels. I'll do that for a later canning. And then I need 8 cups of water in here. Now we just need to load the jars. The jars are warm, if not borderline hot. So of course you have a hottish water in there. Don't put cold and hot together. You know that would break glass. So I've got my wide mouth pints in here, but it is a tight fit. So just be extra cautious about that. It's kind of hard to get them in. Right now, when the canner is not real hot, you can put your hands in there and kind of juggle them around if they're not too hot. But it is a hard thing to get them in there, but make sure they're flat. Little splash of vinegar is going to help them from getting cloudy. And now here I go setting up, swinging it around to the exhaust mode. It has exhaust on 2 sides, airtight on 1 side. And then I'm going ahead to press the high button to get it started. Now I'm going to make a mistake here, and I just included it in here so you can see where you have to just go through and figure out what you did step by step. So there on the right hand side, you can go up. If you hold it in, it counts quickly. And then the left side will make it go down if you overshoot the target. So anyway, once I got it set up like that, I looked at it. Yeah, it was at 75. Yes, I've got it set on exhaust like it's supposed to be. See, that exhaust is on each side. Now I'm double checking because I had looked, and when I pressed the start button, it didn't start. And you can see my time set there, but just as I go to press the start, the time on there, the 75, went away. And it just, nothing would happen. So I looked, mentally went through all the steps, went down through the chart, and I figured it out. I didn't twist the lid from open to closed. There are very legible marks there on the lid. You need to push it over to the close, goes very, very easily, and then go through your same steps. Press the high, set the timer for your jars, and then these are pints, so they do 75 for this type of food. Press the start, and it starts this, I don't know what you would call that, a running or tracking type thing. Now that display light keeps rolling, and that is while it's heating up. It'll beep at E10 when the proper heat is reached, and then it'll exhaust steam for those 10 minutes as it counts down. When the display shows E0, you rotate that top to airtight. That would be that knob pointing toward the front toward you. And then after this, you just have a basic wait until that timer runs down. It constantly does steam, makes those steaming noises. Check on it. You can't walk away and leave it. You have to be around in that area, keeping an eye on it. When it finally finishes up, you'll be able to see that the pressure cycle is finishing and the display will change to off. And when it displays off, then at that point it's done. You can unplug it. It's good, safe practice to go ahead and unplug it. It takes it about an hour or so, hour and a half, to cool off enough. Just go in there and gently touch that regulator. If there's any kind of a presser, hiss, then don't open it. Leave it another 30 minutes and come back again. But once there's no noise, carefully go in there, do it again, and then you can open it. Now when you open it, that heat is still in there, and the heat is intense. Steam is intense too, so stay back from it for a while, let it set for a while, and then you can get your jar lifters to take out. And this is where I found it a little bit difficult when I tried to get the wide mouths out. The jar lifter just would not fit down in there, and I didn't have anything like a welding glove or anything like that to use. So there were some tongs with my canning set, and I reached down in the skinny area between there and was able to get that up. And I just got it as high as I could set it right there on the other jars. Then I went and got my regular jar lifters to take it and put it down next to the canner. Then it was a lot easier to get that regular jar lifter down into the can and lift everything out one by one. But do this very carefully. Things are still hot. As you can see, they're still boiling in the jar. So you know that's more than 200 degrees inside that jar. And that one I should not have tilted, but I don't know, temporarily lost my grip. But there it is. There's all the chili already. I can't really see how those soft, already cooked beans survived, but it looks real good to me. I'm real proud of those 5 jars, and I hope TJ likes them. The tops, you can take a magic marker and write the date on it. I put 12/23 because I did this on the, I think it was either the 30th or the 31st. Maybe I was doing it through that day. But mark it all. Later, I went ahead and did the chicken. That was easy. I did a double rack. I'm so pleased with my canner, and I hope you'll like yours if you get one too. It's fun.